Assalamu alaikum. 6 p.m. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Zahra Sikandar. First, the headlines. Pakistan has strongly condemned United States President's decision to recognize occupied Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Security forces have recovered huge cache of arms and ammunition from terrorist hideouts in Khyber Agency. 13 people have been died in a boat accident in Thatta district. Joint Resistance Leadership has announced to observe complete shutdown against gross human rights violations in Indian-held Kashmir on Sunday. OIC and United Nations Human Rights Council have urged Myanmar to immediately cease violations against Rohingya Muslims. U.S. Secretary of State says sanctions against Moscow will remain in place until Russia withdraws from Ukraine. And now the news in detail. Pakistan has strongly condemned the decision of the United States President to recognize occupied Jerusalem as the so-called capital of Israel. In a statement, spokesperson Foreign Office, Dr. Mohammed Faisal, said it is deeply regrettable that pleas from states across the globe not to alter the legal and historical status of Al-Quds al-Sharif have been ignored. He said the decision represents a serious violation of international law and applicable United Nations Security Council resolutions, particularly UNSCR 478. He said it is a serious setback to the rule of law and international norms, a swear blow to the Middle East peace process as well. Dr. Faisal said Pakistan shares the international outrage and is deeply concerned over the implications of this decision for international peace and security, especially in the Middle East. He called upon the United Nations Security Council to take cognizance of this situation and take steps in accordance with the United Nations Charter. The spokesperson said Pakistan urges the United States to revisit its decision as soon as possible in order to avoid the potentially grave repercussions in the region and beyond. He said Pakistan welcomes the announcement by Turkey to convene an extraordinary Islamic summit next week to discuss this serious issue. Earlier condemning the decision of the United States President to recognize occupied Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, President Mamnoon Hussain said Pakistan would take up the issue at all available fora. He expressed the confidence that the OIC meeting would adopt a tough stand on the issue. The Election Commission has launched its mobile phone app for awareness and information of the general public. President Mamnoon Hussain inaugurated the Click ECP app at a ceremony held in Islamabad today to mark National Voters' Day. In his address on the occasion, the president expressed satisfaction that the electoral system of the country has entered into a modern era. He said experiments of biometric system and electronic voting machines have also been inducted to further improve electoral system and ensure greater transparency. Mamnoon Hussain said the technological advancement introduced by ECP matched the international standards. The president underscored the need for teaching the young generation about the importance of vote. He said the role of political parties, civil society, and media is equally important to educate the masses about the importance of their vote. Security forces carried out a search operation at Sheikhan village in Khyber Agency today and cleared 4 caves and 3 compounds that were in the use of terrorists. According to the ISPR, a huge cache of arms and ammunition, including hand grenades and improvised explosive devices, were also recovered from the terrorist hideouts. At least 13 people died as the boat carrying more than 50 devotees capsized in seawater near Mirpur Sakro in district Thatta today. According to the police, more than 50 people, including women and children, were on their way to participate in a mela at shrine. According to Deputy Commissioner Thatta, 13 bodies have been recovered so far, and rescue operations is on a way to save the missing people. The injured have been shifted to Taluka Hospital, Mirpur Sakro. Chief Minister Sindh Syed Murad Ali Shah has expressed deep grief and sorrow over the loss of precious lives and directed Deputy Commissioner Thatta to take all possible efforts for rescuing the people. This is Radio Pakistan. Members of the Asia Group at The Hague have agreed to appoint Pakistan as a member of the Executive Council of Organization of Prevention of Chemical Weapons for the term 2018 to 2020. This decision was endorsed by the Conference of State Parties of the OPCW. The conference also endorsed 3 other countries from Asia Group, including Indonesia, Iran, and Iraq, for membership of the Executive Council. Pakistan enjoys the distinct honor of continuous membership of the OPCW Executive Council since the inception of OPCW in 1997. Pakistan continues to participate actively and contribute positively to the work of the OPCW in several areas. Pakistan, on behalf of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, has demanded immediate cessation of violence against Rohingya Muslims and other minorities in Myanmar. In his statement before the 27th Special Session of United Nations Human Rights Council, Pakistan's permanent representative to the United Nations in Geneva, Ambassador Farrukh Amil, urged Myanmar to allow access to the United Nations fact-finding mission in the affected areas. He said the OIC remained ready to work with all stakeholders to prevent human rights violations on Rohingya Muslims. He said that more efforts are needed to ensure the early return of the Rohingya refugees in an environment of safety and dignity to their ancestral homes in Myanmar. The United Nations Human Rights Council also adopted a resolution which called on Myanmar to immediately cease hostilities against Rohingya Muslim population. In occupied Kashmir, the Joint Resistance Leadership says that human rights champions are maintaining a criminal silence for the sake of their economic benefits on the worst kind of torture and oppression on Kashmiris. In a joint statement issued in Srinagar today, announced to observe complete shutdown on Sunday, the International Human Rights Day, against gross human rights violations in the held territory. The U.S. President Donald Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital has sparked large-scale protests in the world, including Arab and other Muslim countries. Speaking at a televised news conference in Gaza City today, Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh called for Palestinians to launch protests from tomorrow and for Muslim countries to cut ties with the United States. He urged the Palestinian people to take to the streets from tomorrow to launch a new intifada with a view to defending Jerusalem. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas spoke to his Egyptian counterpart Abdel Fattah al-Sisi by phone to discuss the U.S. decision. He said that Trump has destroyed America's credibility as a Mideast peace broker. The U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has said that sanctions imposed by Washington against Moscow will remain in place until Russia withdraws from Ukraine. Speaking in front of his Russian counterpart at a security conference in Vienna today, U.S. Secretary of State said, "We will never accept Russia's occupation and attempted annexation of Crimea." He added that Crimea-related sanctions will remain in place until Russia returns full control of the peninsula to Ukraine. China's military has voiced strong dissatisfaction and opposition to the intrusion of an Indian unmanned aerial vehicle into its airspace. The Chinese deputy head of the Combat Bureau of the Western Theater Command's Joint Staff Department, Jiang Li, said the Indian unmanned aerial vehicle intruded into China's airspace and crashed, and China's border troops have conducted identification and verification of the vehicle. He said India's move has infringed upon China's territorial sovereignty, and we are strongly dissatisfied with and opposed to this. The Chinese commander said, "We will fulfill our mission and responsibility and defend China's national sovereignty and security resolutely." Meanwhile, the spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry, Gang Shuang, said the drone crashed in the Sikkim section of China's border with India, and China has lodged a complaint with India over the issue. And finally, the weather. Mainly cold and dry weather is expected in most parts of the country during the next 12 hours, while very cold weather conditions are likely to continue in Balochistan. Shallow foggy conditions are likely over few plain areas of Punjab and Upper Sindh during morning hours. To end the news, here again a few of the headlines. Pakistan has strongly condemned United States President's decision to recognize occupied Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Security forces have recovered huge cache of arms and ammunition from terrorist hideouts in Khyber Agency. Joint Resistance Leadership has announced to observe complete shutdown against gross human rights violations in Indian-held Kashmir on Sunday. And with this, we come to the end of the news. For more news and analyses, visit our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.